So he says he would do the Merrick Garland thing all over again. It even goes further than that, saying that if the Republicans take back the U.S. Senate in 2023, this is basically a year and a half from now, he doesn't know. He'd have to wait and see whether he'd even confirm a U.S. Supreme Court nominee then. Joining us is Khanna. He's a Democratic congressman from California, a member of the House Oversight Committee. So, Congressman Khanna, you hear Mitch McConnell promise, basically, if the Republicans take back the Senate, not to confirm in 2024, and basically more or less tell us he would not confirm in 2023. What are you going to do about it?
John, first of all, it's just rank hypocrisy. As everyone knows, he rushed through Justice Amy Barrett with 7-8 days before the election. And now he's saying that even 2 years before the next presidential election, he's not going to confirm someone. This is why the Senate control in the midterms matters. I think you're going to see record turnout from Democrats across the country. It's also why we need term limits for Supreme Court justices. I have a bill, which others are supporting, which says every president ought to get 2 appointees to the Supreme Court and limit it to an 18-year term.
Justice Stephen Breyer, who was, of course, nominated by President Clinton. He's over 80 years old at this point. Now that this statement has been made definitively by Mitch McConnell, would you like to see Justice Breyer retire now, soon, so that Joe Biden can nominate? Go ahead. I'll let you answer.
That's not my place. Justice Breyer is one of the great Supreme Court justices. He's one of the great jurists of our generation. It's not the place, in my view, for any member of Congress to be telling Justice Breyer what to do. He's not telling me to retire. I think that's ageist, and I don't think that's appropriate.
You have said, though, you want term limits for justices. So in a way, you're saying you would like to see him retire, even if you're not saying it by name. But you think this is worth losing potentially a seat on the Supreme Court. And when I say losing, more liberal judges.
Well, I think each justice will know the politics and will make a responsible decision. But I don't think we ought to be making determinations based on people's age. I do think every Supreme Court justice should have up to an 18-year term. And we need more generally Supreme Court term limits. And we need every president to get 2 appointees. That would be a fair process. It would depoliticize the Supreme Court in some ways. But it's unfair, in my view, to just say someone is older and we're going to target them and tell them what to do. I think many Americans who are older would resent that. I mean, we have a president who's older. I just don't think that that's appropriate.
I want to ask you about this man in New Hampshire whose name is Jason Riddle. He was arrested during the Capitol riot. He was a guy seen drinking wine that he found in one of the offices there. He now says he's considering running for Congress in New Hampshire, and he says even more than that. Listen.
In the long run, if you're running for office, I guess any attention is good attention. So I think it'll help me. Despite my ongoing legal problems, I'm supposed to live my life how I want to live it, and it's something I want to do, so why not do it?
He more or less says he thinks the insurrection will help him. Is he wrong when you're talking about Republican primaries?
It's unbelievable. This is why, John, people have such a low opinion of those of us serving in Congress and why Congress continues to poll so poorly. I mean, it's remarkable that someone like this is even being considered for public office. And it's why today's hearing, which I'm on with the Oversight Committee with Christopher Wray, is going to matter. And one of the questions that people will be asking him is, did you have any intelligence on these militia groups? Why was there no action to prevent it? I don't think he will prevail. I hope for our country he doesn't prevail. But it's scary that someone like him thinks he has any chance and is going to get media attention over it.
Talk to me more about this hearing today. You will get to ask questions of Christopher Wray. What more do you want to hear from him? And also Charles Flynn, who was the brother of Michael Flynn, but that's not why he's before you today. He's before you because he was the Deputy Army Chief of Staff at the time of the insurrection. What do you expect from him?
Well, with Christopher Wray, he's an honorable public servant, but he went to the Judiciary Committee and he said, we've got to do better. I'm going to take a hard look at it. You know, if the 49ers coach were to say that after a season, that wouldn't cut it. He needs to be more specific. What were the failures? Why did it go wrong? And what specifically is he going to do? In terms of the Deputy Chief of Staff to the Army, there has to be an explanation to the American people on the timeline. Why is it that people called for help almost 4 hours before the National Guard went in, even though it took them 12 minutes to get there? This was an attack on our country, on our democracy, and it shows weakness, and we have to show the world that we will never let it happen again.
Congressman Ro Khanna, I noticed you brought up the 49ers, and I do remember that we spent the morning together the day the 49ers played the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Lost, albeit it's not my fault that I was with you.
John, you've got a great memory. I'm impressed.
Yes, well,
I'm impressed. You interview so many people. I'm impressed.
No, you're the only one who snuck in a 49ers reference a year and a half later. So, Congressman Ro Khanna, thanks very much for that.